So, you want to make a comic? I guess I'll have to show you. First, you need a sketch. Then, you have to ink said sketch. Then, scan it. No, not like that. Now that you have your little picture scanned, you want to go over here. You want all this stuff to go away. You want line art, right? So this is how I do it. You go over to your layer properties over here, and if you don't have that, you just go to Windows and go to layer properties or property, blah blah blah. And what I like to do is click this little black dot. It's gone. It has disappeared. So now we could just, make a new layer, put it underneath, fill that in. So now, hey, if we want, we could color underneath it. So like, as you can see, I should use this. As you can see, easy. So, yeah, you see it's very dirty, and instead of actually cleaning these all out and trying to get like a good, super good, clean, you could just let's back up a little bit, and you could actually just go where it says gray, monochrome. Wow, look at that. Did you see that? Did you see that? Gray, monochrome. We'll zoom in, you'll probably see better. Alright, so we got gray. You see like there's still some like paper residue or whatever, and you just go to monochrome, it's like, it's all gone. It's all gone. So, this makes it easier to clean. So, we just go there and then we'll, clean things up a little bit. Make another layer. Like duplicate this layer actually. Right click and duplicate layer, and you can actually put this to gray if you want it, and then click white, which would make it completely white. Of course I erased that already, so that's gonna look weird, but that way if you want like clear distinctive lines for your panel layering later on, then it's perfect. For right now we're gonna get rid of that and then go back to our line art and make sure I click on that line art and clean it up, yada yada. Like I said, I usually don't erase these, but actually I could in this example. Sweet. Alright, so this is gonna take some time. Obviously you want to make sure you have a pretty clean line art. Of course, you gotta get rid of all these dots. Yours might be cleaner than mine. I tend to sketch pretty hard. That's why I end up with a lot of this crap. So we're gonna actually skip forward this. So yeah. Alright, now that I've cleaned this all up and I added my own details and stuff that I needed for this page, I am now gonna start putting the panels. So we have this layer still, and of course it's not gonna look exactly on par. I mean, I did change some stuff, but this will give me the grounds of what I need to do. So I'm just gonna hide my line art layer. And if you're curious, with the time skip and all, I have multiple layers. I just kind of put them in a folder. That way, I could just select them all, click it, blah blah blah. I mean, you see the difference in some of them, but that's just that doesn't matter. Anyways, so now that we got our line art cleaned up and all done, I mean, look at that freaking that looks fresh. Okay, forget that nonsense and let's do some panel layering, shall we? There's some panel down. So I'm gonna click that, put my original scan picture in there. And I'm actually gonna change the opacity a little bit, that way Yeah, don't look that bad either. And that's the way I'm gonna do it. And then you come over here with your toolbar, and then you click this little thing. It might look different. Mine's split, but that's okay. Whatever it is, just go to this one right here, and I'm actually gonna change this back to white, something like black, and then I used a rectangular frame, and then I'll go right here and drag and kind of get as close as possible. Now, as you can see, my things are a little bit off. They don't line up correctly, but try to do my best, because you also could just change that. So, boom, we got our first thing. And then what I would do is, it creates this for you. I mean, you can mess around with the settings or whatever, like right here, how to add to select the folder, create a new folder. I just do create a new folder for now, until I mess with it later on. And I'm actually going to drag this underneath. That way it's like, oh hey, they appear above it. So, cool. And I like making my panel borders a little bit thicker, so you could go, well, you have it selected, and then you go right here, it says brush size, and it's not doing it for some reason. What the hell, man? Maybe because I have to select it, so I'm gonna select it. Boom, it's selected, and I'm going to, oh, there we go, there we go. Now we could just, I'm gonna do 7. 7 looks good. Yeah, 7 looks good. Okay, so now we're gonna do that with the rest of them, but before we do that, notice how these still need to be their own separate thing, and I just made a one big one. Well, I just boom, do that. Actually probably gotta just do this really quick, just kind of like so I can see it. And actually I could do this, really, to be honest. Boom, and go back to where you made that panel, so a comic book thing, and then go to cut frames, and you could customize your vertical or horizontal slice thing. Ah, crap. Yeah, you gotta be able to be kind of accurate with it. And great there. I'll deal with this one. Boom. Of course, they make their own separate folders. And boom. Look at that. Look at that. I made 3 panels. Got a couple more to go, so I'm just gonna do that really quick and probably speed this portion up. So let's close that out. We do it again. Create, and we're gonna make a little rectangle. I'm actually gonna use her as a thing and do the same thing again. And of course, quick tip. See how these are highlighted purple, but these are not? You could just go right here, select on the thing, go right here, and then just show in all layers, and just like boom, click that out. That way they're not highlighted, because to me that's annoying. And you know you did it right when you see they're like, oh, they're crossed out. Boom, that's so much better. Right, and now I'm going to click off of this image, and then I'm going to go back to my line art. And as you can see, boom. Of course, you see some of them not rightly matching up, or yada yada, but that's easy to do, because all you got to do is go to your line art layer, And grab your little lasso. I mean, I like using the lasso. I mean, they have options here, but I like using the lasso and kind of like just going over it. And it selects it, go to the little arrows cross thing, and then you can arrow key it if you want. And you can move them around. And then you would erase these lines. Well, when you select the one layer, there you go, clean it up a bit. Same with all this right here. And I'll just make it look nice. Now, I'm not going to do that right now, because technically I already have this page done. So, we're going to do a little time skip here. See you in a second. Alright, welcome back. I mean, probably was like a second for you, but, you know. So, here's a done product already, because I originally did this already. And so here's all the panels, all nice and clean. What I ended up doing with this one, I got this one lined up pretty good, and I think I had to move Kazahara down. I think age was fine. I just had to erase some lines, and I think Mike was fine. So, yeah. So pretty much what you want to do when it comes to like when you do your paneling, just, you know, line them up as close as possible if you're not a straight drawer like I am, and then you could move certain parts of the line art as I showed you with that lasso tool. And I don't know if it showed in the previous transition, because this is a future Taco Bandit. And I straightened this line out and a lot of other lines, yada yada. It's what I did, man. What I did, and I think I added this. Yeah, I added this. So I don't like the original sketch. It's like, no, I'm gonna have him hold the bag. So now you got all that. So next I would do coloring, and so I'm actually gonna show you what I already have of coloring. There we go. See it? All colored. Yada yada. Of course you can see the balloons. Don't mind that nonsense. I'm just gonna skip that. So let's just say we'll make a new folder for this example. I'm not saving this, so we'll make a new folder. Call it fucking colors. Yada yada. And we'll make a new layer, and I do mine in grayscale, so I kind of just do this side right here. So I'm gonna do like a little, let's do darker, and then we'll just say we'll start with Age's hair. I usually have a set base for Age's hair, but for this example we'll just use it. And I usually click W, which brings up the wand here right underneath the lasso and all this stuff. So click it. Now you have different options here. You got refer to, editing layer only, refer to all layers, or selection for referred layers. I usually use refer to all layers, and then I'll come down to the settings here, and I usually click this one, the selection, which is add. So let's say add to selection. That way you can click multiple without having to hold out shift. Select that. So select the hair. Alright. Go to my pen tool. Change my settings, and ooh, actually pretty close to his original hair. Voila. And I would do that with the whole panel. I'll just select. And now Age's hair is colored. Now, I would do this with each of them. And then what I like to do, you don't have to, but what I like to do is I'll make another layer. And I will actually, to add a little poppage to that, go in and go close. Either I'll do a darker or lighter, depending on how it looks. So in this case, I'm gonna try to do darker. and then I'll just like add a little shade. And I'm just gonna do this quick. Alright, it's like, oh hey, I have his shade now. He has shade in his hair. And this is what I like to do personally. This might be a stylistic choice and you could just do your own thing, but I do like the shade on a separate layer above the hair, and or even when it comes to clothing and stuff. And I'll actually go to the layer properties, go to effects, and you see like this checkerboard thing. I click it, and you're like, oh hey, it does these weird screen tones. So you're like, okay, cool. And I'll go to density. It says use color of image, use brightness of image, and you get like a little darker tone. And you can mess around with this, do the frequencies. I like some of these. I kind of do the basics, like because sometimes I kind of just like how it looks. So we're gonna go ahead and maybe like that. You can also change it to different kind of things, angles, all that fun stuff. And I'm gonna just go, and then I'm gonna change the opacity a little bit, and boom, pops out a little bit. I like it. I like it, and that's just what I would do mainly, like with clothing and stuff. The only time I won't do it, like if the clothing's like black and such. So yeah, and I'll do that with different colors of hair. Like Ren's usually a lighter hair, so I'll do a little bit lighter than what Age has. I think Cat has a little bit of darker hair, so I'll do a little bit darker, so on and so forth. And since Cheetos over here has like orangish hair, I would do like the same kind of like shade I would as a skin color, and so on and so forth. Same with Kaza with this hair and face. Anyways, so that's your coloring. And now you want to add balloons. Like say you got this all done. Okay, we color the picture. Yada yada. And we want to add balloons now. Speech bubbles. So let's say we'll go with this panel for example. And go over here. And mine's a little tail. Yours might be this. Well, it's under the text or the A. Click on it. I have mine set this way. You could change your setting how you want it to be. Like, I think I have mine a little bit more jaggedy. Yeah, I have mine more jaggedy, and I forgot it's not set to black, so let's change that. And like you could have yours smooth if you want, but because how I have this monochrome and how it's like kind of jaggy already, I kind of like to match it with the picture. So I'm gonna do that, and just gonna put the speech bubble right here. And say it's like, oh, I want to make that speech bubble a little bit better. You go to your layer properties, tool navigation. There's like an object tool, and you could just like, oh, cool, make it bigger or whatever. Move it around as such, Alright. Then we're gonna go back to where you got your speech bubble, and we'll go to the balloon tail, and then put boom. And of course you could change that. And what's cool about that, you'll select the object again, and then select individual parts, so you could just oh, you could do crazy stuff. Oops, clicked off it. Voila. Now you got a speech bubble. So we made our balloon. We're gonna add text to this. Then I'll do all the speech bubble for each individual panel, then I'll do the text. So go to your little toolbar here and go above the balloon tail, and then little A. Select your font. I like to use, I think it's called Unji. It's free to use. I think free to use for commercial products too, but I could be wrong about that. I tend to use it for my comics, just as a nice font to use, and then click on there, and it's a little bit big, but let's just put some text down. Well, let's say, okay, obviously it's like way too big, so I'll just select all, hold down shift, and then move. I mean, you don't have to hold down shift, but you'll get like a weird, kind of like weird form. So I'm just like, I'll just hold down shift, that way I get nice and even. And then I'll move it in position, go back to this, and then move it. And obviously I didn't type that right, so we'll go back. Got the U. And I'll do some more. Select it all, and then I'll do my justify. I would do the centered, because it looks weird the other way. And you can bold it, you can italic it, underline it, or strike it out. It's all kind of different options here. So I'm just going to do regular and move. Oh, oops. So it's connected to the bubble, the same layer, and you're like, oh no, it's connected to the same layer. Well, you could just click the object button and move it as you please. So no worries, man. Woo, man, check out his stuff. I don't know what I mean by that, but hey, it works. And then you'll do that for each panel and such. And that's how you make a comic. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Just, sketch them out. Another pro tip. I usually would do a rough page or a thumbnail. A rough page would be like a full page. Like I usually do under line paper or something, and I'll just draw like what I think, what the comic would be, like lay out like panels I think, and I'm like, oh hey, this is a thing. Stuff is happening. So that would be like the rough page. The thumbnail would be like a little bit smaller, which I did for this one and the last page actually. And I'll draw out. And it'll be something similar, a lot smaller, a lot less detailed, like really like stick figure-esque. What like the general idea of that panel will have in the page, like, oh, guy beating up guy or whatever, and then you could write down little notes of like, oh, zoom in here, or he's running, so on and so forth. And then I'll sketch it out on a separate piece of paper, as you saw, and then ink it and scan it, and then voila, do all the stuff I taught you, and you'll have a pretty good looking page. Oof, excuse me. So yeah, hopefully that was informative, and have fun, and give me your tacos. Yeah.